Jim Les welcomed back 5 starters to Bradley's team for 2006, but the Braves were only the number 6 pick in the preseason polls. Combine big-time talent and a little chip on the shoulder, and the Braves are thinking about a Missouri Valley championship. Meanwhile, Southern Illinois has won 4 straight Valley titles, and the Salukis and Jamaal Tatum don't show any signs of loosening their grip on the top. The SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois is a great place to visit if your business is anything but basketball. The home folks here have gone happy 29 straight games. That home win streak and the lead in the Missouri Valley is on the line today against Bradley. Hi, everybody. Along with Chris Piper, I'm Bill Dolman. Great to have you with us this afternoon. And, Chris, this has been a great start and a much-talked-about start to the 2006 season for the Missouri Valley Conference. There is a familiar name at the top of the conference standings, but behind Southern Illinois, there are a lot of legitimate contenders for a championship in the NCAA tournament.
Well, new year, some new faces, but still the same old story. Southern Illinois still at the top of the standings, undefeated. This is a team that's established itself as the team to beat 4 straight years now with a Missouri Valley regular season conference title and keeping up where they left off. Northern Iowa already with 1 loss, and that was at Bradley. So, you know, the Valley's got a lot of great national recognition and well-deserved.
Well, Southern Illinois might be the familiar name at the top, but it's a newcomer who has led them there in the true freshman point guard, Bryan Mullins.
Well, trying to replace Darren Brooks, and Bryan Mullins has moved into the starting point guard position for Southern Illinois. They're 9-1 since he's gone to that starting position. He's a guy that makes things happen for them at the point guard spot. Has to continue to learn that motion offense that Southern Illinois likes to run. For Bradley, inside the big fella, 7-foot presence. I mean, that is tough to beat when you're the other teams. Watch him on the offensive boards. Bradley destroyed Wichita State on the glass. Wichita State, one of the best rebounding teams. But the thing about O'Brien, his mobility inside, the ability to move, is going to really need that today against his pressure defense being outlet for Bradley guards.
Well, Bryan Mullins and Patrick O'Brien aren't the only 2 guys to watch. Our Star Watch today focuses on 2 of the best players in the Missouri Valley. Marcellus Somerville for the Braves has had a lot of success in this very arena, nearly a double-double. Meanwhile, Jamaal Tatum, the guard for Southern Illinois, is a Conference Player of the Year contender. The head coaches for this ball game, Jim Les, in his 4th season at his alma mater, has had some pretty good success over the last couple of years. They have 5 starters returning. He thinks he has a club this year that could win the Missouri Valley Championship, especially now that Patrick O'Brien is in the lineup. And his counterpart, Chris Lowry, he's also coaching in his alma mater. He's in his 2nd season as the head coach here at Southern Illinois, one of the youngest coaches in the entire country at just 33 years of age, but already a lot of success, 37 wins. Last year, he was the Missouri Valley Conference Coach of the Year. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for this ball game. And both of these teams return some experience. We mentioned that Mullins, the point guard, is the true freshman. Taking a look at Bradley, you've got Bennett and Ruffin in the backcourt. O'Brien is averaging a double-double in 4 games since his return from an NCAA suspension. Somerville and Wright are the forwards. For Southern Illinois, you've got Tatum and Mullins and Young, a 3-guard lineup for Southern Illinois that will get after you defensively. Falker is a solid player in the post, despite giving up some size. Bradley in their road red uniforms, trimmed in white and black. The Salukis in their home whites, trimmed in maroon. Southern Illinois enters this ball game at 10-3, unbeaten, as you saw in conference play, at 3-0, and they have been on a roll. One of the hottest teams, not just in the Valley, but in the country, having won 8 consecutive ball games, unbeaten, 5-0 here at home. Bradley enters at 8-4, 2-2 in league play, but they've been very close. They've lost 2 games on the road in the conference. At Wichita State, lost by 2 in overtime, and also lost by 2 in their last outing, 75-73 at Drake, and it's the Salukis with the opening possession of the game.
Well, let's watch Southern Illinois in the half-court offense here this afternoon. This is where this team has really struggled to score points. Where they're better at is getting points off of their defense, getting turnovers in the backcourt, transition buckets.
Young is outstanding from outside. That shot was altered by O'Brien, who got a hand in his face, and here come the Braves with their first possession. Daniel Ruffin is the point guard. He's a sophomore from right there in Peoria, which is about 4 hours away. This is Somerville. with the three. That comes up short, shooting it over Young.
Well, coming off the set pick there, and Young with a hand in the face. Very rarely against this Southern Illinois defense do you have an open look, especially from the perimeter.
Jamaal Tatum has his first shot roll off, and the rebound pulled down by Lawrence Wright, the senior out of California. Back the other way was Somerville, who, by the way, is not afraid to put it up. And that shot way long. Somerville gets the rebound, leaves the pass for somebody to pick up, and it's Wright who goes off the glass for the first 2 points of the ball game.
Well, when you play Bradley, you've got to get a body on these guys. They're so long and big inside that you've got to get space in the interior, push them back off the glass.
And O'Brien climbs the back of Falker, and that's the first whistle of the ball game, and it goes against Bradley. Now, O'Brien got in foul trouble at Drake the other night, and that limited his minutes and also his production.
Well, if you're Southern Illinois, you want to try and get the ball inside, try to get some kind of foul situation going for Bradley, because with Southern Illinois, they are very short-manned here this afternoon. Austin Brooks with a groin pull. He's not even dressed out for this game. They've got to try to get Bradley even the numbers up as much as they can.
Falker on the run. Nice pass from Tatum, and the rebound pulled down by Shaw, who does a lot of great work on the boards, and the sophomore from Centralia, Illinois, gets the first two of the game for SIU.
Great job by Matt Shaw, doing the dirty work, coming from the weak side, just pursuing the play. A lot of times guys stand and watch if they're not involved in the set play, and that was a two-man game on the strong side, but Matt Shaw continues to go with it. Nice pick and roll set up here. Watch the play happen here, and going to cut to the basket, but more importantly, coming from the weak side is Matt Shaw, just finding a position. And what didn't you see there? No Bradley players looking to take somebody off of the glass. A lot of times you're long and big inside, and you think the only thing you have to do is out-jump people, but the key to getting on the boards is boxing out, getting a body on somebody.
Well, Randal Falker was mixing it up on that last shot taken by Bradley, and apparently he may have lost a contact, and so he's gone to the bench, and Tony Boyle has come in, 35. Somerville misses again, and Young has the rebound, and then they push it ahead to Jamaal Tatum.
Well, Tony Boyle for Southern Illinois, he gives you the size inside, but he does not give you the mobility that Falker does. That's very needed when you're going up against Patrick O'Brien in the paint. Nice pressure by Bradley, forcing Southern Illinois out in their motion offense.
And that ball kicked out of bounds by Ruffin. And it's SIU basketball. There's a look at Bryan Mullins handling the point guard duties. And Young will kick it in. And having a hard time doing so. Finally does. Young on the run, has it stripped away. This is Ruffin now, 2-on-2 break. Leaving it for Wright. Stopped by Shaw, and he took steps. Good defense by Matt Shaw.
You know what happens here? Daniel Ruffin, he makes this a tough play for Bradley because he only uses one half of the court. He's coming down the middle. He's got Lawrence Wright on his right-hand side. Look what happens here. They're only using one side of the floor. They've got to use that, spread the floor out, make the defense go back and forth, get some width there. All they did really was play right into Southern Illinois' hands and use one half of the court.
Ruffin right now handling Mullins, and Mullins gets past him, and that pass scoots out of bounds, and that's a turnover to Bradley. Just 2-2 is our score, 17-21, very early on in this Missouri Valley contest. And O'Brien will go to the Bradley bench, and entering is Zach Andrews, a junior out of Sacramento. He'll wear 21.
2-2. That kind of sounds like a familiar score for Southern Illinois, doesn't it? This is exactly the pace they wanted, and not the pace that Jim Les and Bradley want. They want to get up and down the floor.
Bennett with a high arcing shot. Tony Bennett, the senior from Chicago, connects and gives Bradley a 2-point lead.
You know, Tony Bennett is a guy I think that Bradley's got to get more involved on the offensive end. He's got good numbers, ability to score. Get him some touches.
Tatum still not finding the range, and here's Ruffin ahead to Wright. Good move on Shaw, and that's a tough shot that rattles in for him. 6-2 Bradley lead. Bradley wants this game played at a 70-point pace. They're fourth in the conference at 72 points per game. Meanwhile, Southern Illinois last in the league in scoring or near the bottom at 59 points in conference play. That's all. Here's Ruffin, 2-on-1. Behind the back he goes, and Shaw harassed the shot enough that forced Somerville to miss it. Here's Wright. And that rolls around and in. Well, he's used all parts of the rim and glass.
He's touched every spot, hasn't he? He's got a couple to fall. Tough shots for Lawrence Wright, but both of them have gone down, and more of the pace that Jim Less that once there in that little 6-0 spurt.
Bradley 8, Southern Illinois 2. Timeout taken by the Salukis. College basketball on ESPNU continues Monday night with a matchup between Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference rivals as the Howard Bison take on the Hampton Pirates. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Monday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. There's Chris Lowry, last year's conference coach of the year. And part of his duties was to maintain the success that Southern Illinois has had here at home. And they currently have won 38 consecutive Missouri Valley Conference home games. And I guess you could say that's a modern era record because you got to go back some in the record books to go back to Oklahoma State and Cincinnati's conference win streaks of 41.
Well, you know, the thing about Southern Illinois, they've established the ability to win at home, obviously, from that graphic. But more importantly, they've also established the ability to go on the road and win, which is so tough to do in the Valley.
Over the last 4 years, Southern Illinois is 39-19 away from home. That's a winning percentage of nearly 70%. It's almost unheard of in college basketball. There's Falker back into the game, got his contacts fixed, missed the shot, and we've got a whistle and a foul. That goes against Shaw of Southern Illinois, and that will take us to another timeout. Bradley has made 3 of its last 4 shots from the floor. The Braves are on a 6-0 run, and they lead it by 6. ESPNU's presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Allstate. Are you in good hands? Bradley with an 8-2 lead on Southern Illinois. The Salukis are just 1 of 7 from the floor. Bradley, meanwhile, has hit 3 of its last 4 shots, 4 of 9 overall in the ball game. And the pace of the game, Chris, right now is tilting towards Bradley, but it's not necessarily at the pace that they'd like to play.
Well, the first 3 minutes were in the favor of Southern Illinois. It was 2-2, and all of a sudden 6 straight points by Bradley. You know, the thing about Southern Illinois, they do not win games on the offensive end. They win it with the defense. And really, they've done a pretty good job. It's just that Lawrence Wright hit a couple of pretty tough shots there last 2 possessions. We
haven't seen Southern Illinois, though, meet Bradley at half court and clamp down that aggressive trapping defense.
Well, when we were here the other night against Wichita State and Southern Illinois played, Wichita State was struggling to get the ball inside the paint, and that's what Bradley's able to do so far, is handle that pressure on the perimeter, get into their offense.
A dunk on the miss by Zach Andrews, and it's an 8-0 run for Bradley. Falker, good defense by Andrews in the lane. Randal gets it back, and we've got some contact, and that's a foul that's going to go against Zach Andrews of Bradley. That's his first personal foul and the second team foul on the Braves, who are out to a 10-2 advantage on the road at Southern Illinois.
Well, Southern Illinois trying to go inside, try to establish something in the paint. Randal Falker, though, really, he's not a pure scorer in the paint. He's got to be able to get an avenue to the basket to be successful. Bradley doing a nice job of recognizing that, staying behind him, making him try to score over the top.
Traveling is called in the lane, and that's a turnover to the Braves. Patrick O'Brien, by the way, is checked back in for Bradley. He wears 13. Can't miss him. Big guy in the middle.
Well, little full court pickup now by Southern Illinois. Just let Bradley know that they're there.
Somerville, good pass to O'Brien. Somerville gets it back. Got his man out of position. That's Wesley Clemens who's come in. Falker with the block on Bennett, and Young comes away with a loose ball, and a foul is called. And I think Tony Bennett may have grabbed the jersey of Tony Young.
How about the defensive rotation on that play for Southern Illinois, Bill? I mean, there were 4 or 5 different opportunities for Bradley to take a shot. Instead, they ball fake, draw the defense, continue to pass, and the rotation on the weak side for Southern Illinois, tremendous. Really in a zone run and gun defense there, because Bradley did such a nice job of moving the ball. But Southern Illinois sticks with it.
Big shot for Tony Young as he gets on the board, and that ends that 8-0 Bradley run. It's a 6-point edge for the Braves. Jeremy Crouch has come in for Bradley, wears 14, and now Somerville's stuck in the corner. You never want to be in that position against the Saluki defense. And that's good position defensively by Jamaal Foster, who's also come in off the Saluki bench, forcing the traveling call.
And a great timeout by Chris Lowry. That last time he turned up the defense a little bit. A little more run and double team, forcing Bradley out of their offense. You do not want to let Bradley set back in the half court and run their set plays.
Jamaal Foster has the door shut by Andrews, and Young tries a three-pointer, and that's no good. O'Brien clears the board.
And those are the shots that Southern Illinois is going to have to find a way to make those. They're not getting a lot of space on the outside because of the inability of the Salukis big man to make anything happen in the paint.
Wesley Clemens got a hand on that pass. It's Bradley basketball as Jamaal Tatum checks back into the Saluki lineup, replacing Bryan Mullins, who will take a break. And this is Somerville inbounding it to Jeremy Crouch. Both teams going to the bench here since that first time out. Andrews on the run. There's contact and a charging foul.
Well, I can't tell you what. I can't say enough about this Southern Illinois defense. I'm going to keep talking about it and talking about it. Watch what happens here. They kind of fake at Andrews a little bit, but they know he's not a shooter. Great scouting report. They back off on him. He decides now to take it right in the paint, and they draw the charge.
Andrews exits, his second personal foul, fourth team foul on Bradley in the half.
Zach Andrews should have taken that little jumper right there, but he was being a little bit too unselfish, trying to make something happen to get Patrick O'Brien the ball inside.
Lawrence Wright is checked back in for him. There's Falker with the jump hook. That's no good. Southern Illinois is still having a hard time finding the range. Now 2 of 10 from the floor. Ruffin lobs it in off the fingertips of O'Brien, and Jamaal Foster has the loose ball. Another Bradley turnover. And after an 8-0 run, the Braves have kind of gone cold. Southern Illinois has picked up its defensive intensity.
Yeah, much better here after that last time out. But, you know, the difference for Bradley, those points that they got in that 8-0 run were primarily in transition.
Great move by Falker to the baseline to score on the reverse layup.
Well, Randal Falker couldn't make it happen when he had only 3 feet to go, so he backed out of the lane, got 10 feet, able to get a little momentum, get right by.
3 consecutive turnovers by Bradley. See if Crouch can end that drought. He does not. And the rebound tapped into the hands of Wesley Clemens.
Well, I tell you what, there is no reason that Southern Illinois should even be close in this game right now, as poorly as they're shooting the ball in the half court, but their defense continues to keep them in things.
Tony Young along the baseline drills one. That's a 2.
Nice movement in the motion offense. Tony Young coming from the far side underneath the basket. Turned, ready, waiting for the ball as soon as he gets it. Marcellus Somerville hung up on the weak side off the pick.
Lawrence Wright quiets the crowd. That stops a 6-0 Southern Illinois run.
Yeah, tough matchup there for Southern Illinois. They've got Jamaal Foster trying to guard Lawrence Wright. Just not quick enough. He doesn't feel like he can get up on him on the perimeter because he'll get the drive.
Another good give and go. Falker splits the defenders and slams it home to bring the Salukis back to within 2. Tatum nearly picked the pocket of Daniel Ruffin.
Patrick O'Brien, no touches inside the paint. There they go. They finally get him the ball. Here comes a double team from the opposite post.
An awkward shot, and again the rebound slapped around into the hands of Jamaal Foster.
You know, you can learn a little bit about weak side rotation watching Southern Illinois. Even on that play when the double team on Patrick O'Brien, they got the small guard down on the opposite side to take off the opposite post big man. Nice shot.
Another whistle and foul against Bradley. That's 16 fouls now against the Braves. Just 1 whistle has gone against Southern Illinois. Well, great teamwork here by SIU as they battle back to close to within 2. Southern Illinois is known for its great defense, but they're on an offensive roll, closing to within 2 of Bradley.
Well, Southern Illinois does such a great job in the motion offense. Look, 3 guards up top, and they've got the pick going on right there. That's where the action happens. And Tony Young coming off on the backside. No help there. Look how they've cleared the floor. Everybody up the floor as well. And Tony Young now with the open shot. No weak side communication for Bradley on defense, but also that's set up by Southern Illinois getting everybody up the floor, clearing off the side, and then setting the weak side back pick by Jamaal Foster on Tony Young's man.
Well, look at that. Southern Illinois, after a 1-for-7 start from the floor, is at 4 of its last 6, including 3 consecutive field goals. And the Salukis here have a chance to tie or take the lead with the 3. And they're not a bad 3-point shooting team. The numbers aren't big, but they're efficient. And that ball tapped out of bounds, and Southern Illinois will maintain possession. Southern Illinois as a team is 32% from the floor. They don't rely on the three, but they use it at the appropriate times.
Well, they don't get a lot of open threes because they really don't have much of a presence in the paint as far as being able to score, and that allows teams to extend on them. But, you know, we saw against Wichita State the other night, Tony Young shot well from the perimeter. You just got to be able to get something going in the paint, otherwise you let the defense extend on you.
10 seconds to shoot. And Clemens misses the three-point try. And it's Bradley who comes away with a loose ball. This is Ruffin, picked up by Clemens on the other side. Beg your pardon, it's Tony Bennett with the basketball. Now he needs some help. Finds it from O'Brien. O'Brien working on Foster, and there's a whistle. That's going to go against Jamaal Foster of Southern Illinois. That's the second team foul on SIU in the first half.
Foster with his first personal foul.
There's Patrick O'Brien, 7 foot, 260-pound sophomore out of Blaine, Minnesota. Crouch in the corner. And now Tony Bennett. Bennett on the run. Finger roll way off the mark. A lot of red jerseys back, but Mullins shows no fear and draws a foul. And that will go against Tony Bennett, and that's team foul number 7 now. Beg your pardon, 6th team foul. But it will send Bryan Mullins to the foul line to shoot 2.
Well, Bradley's a team that really only plays with 7 guys. Actually 8 with Will Franklin now coming off that suspension. But Danny Adams not playing a lot. Jeremy Crouch actually playing more here this afternoon than he's played in quite a while.
And Mullins is good on the first foul shot. There's Tony Bennett. He has 2 personal fouls. Zach Andrews has been on the bench for a while with 2 fouls as well for Bradley.
Quick early fouls.
And Mullins is good on both foul shots, and we're tied at 12. It was a 10-2 lead for Bradley, but the Salukis have battled back and knotted this thing up. Halfway through the first half, and there's Mullins with the steal. Second in the conference in thefts at more than 2 per game. Picks up a big one here and has a chance for the lead.
And usually his steals come from off the ball. That was just straight defense on the dribbler, able to get a hand in there. Got to respect him a little bit more than that with the dribble.
He's a taller point guard at 6'1", and his arms are extremely long. Plus, he's got some good quickness. There's Tatum splitting the defenders, giving it to Clemens, who shoots a rocket that's off the back of the rim. Foster pulls down the rebound.
And Wesley Clemens is going to have that shot anytime he wants it. Bradley's going to let him shoot the 3. He's got to take that as a last resort. And definitely Jamaal Foster's got to get a little closer than that next time.
He comes up short, and Matt Shaw is called for going over the back. And that's the 3rd personal foul on Southern Illinois. The 2nd personal foul now on Matt Shaw. That could be a critical whistle against the Salukis.
Yeah, Matt Shaw, he's, you know, his numbers are down this year, shooting from the floor 45%. I think he's trying to step out a little bit, but numbers don't tell the story for Matt Shaw. He's the kind of guy that makes all the little things happen behind the scenes. He's in there blocking out, doing the job, setting screens, and then knocking down shots when you least expect it. So losing him on the bench right now, I can't imagine they're going to put him back in unless they have to. They've got to keep him on the floor in the second half.
Somerville with the basketball has had a very quiet first half for Bradley. Another whistle, and that's going to go against Mullins of Southern Illinois. So the fouls are starting to mount up for Chris Lowry and the Salukis.
You know, as short-benched as both these teams are, it could be kind of grim at the end of this game at this pace with the fouls.
Lobbed into O'Brien. Great catch. He doesn't finish, but he draws another foul on the Salukis. That will go against Tony Young. If you're Tony Young in that situation, don't you just bail out on that?
Got to get out of the way. But, you know, the thing about this whole play is Tony Bennett really takes out 3 white jerseys with the pick. I'm not sure what they were thinking in that situation. You've got to extend out, get a body on Patrick O'Brien. But Tony Bennett just kind of acted like he was going to the ball and took 3 white jerseys with him, and that opened up O'Brien underneath.
O'Brien has played 4 games this year. He served an 8-game NCAA suspension for a violation of the extra benefits rule. And you see the numbers that he's posted, a double-double, 13 points, 11 rebounds, and those numbers were much higher prior to the Drake game, in which he only scored 4 points and had 7 boards. Here's Tatum, stopped along the baseline, and then shoots it too long, and the rebound to O'Brien, but Tatum gets the loose ball back. Good pass to Foster. He goes strong to the hole. He's blocked by O'Brien, and the crowd clearly wanted a foul.
Well, I tell you what, you got to like the move by the young sophomore going right at O'Brien, but Patrick O'Brien is 7 feet and athletic. Tough to get that past him.
Back at the other end, Bennett hits a high arcing shot to give Bradley a 3-point lead, 15-12. Tony Young along the baseline shoots it too strong. Foster with a better time leap than O'Brien, and there's a whistle and a foul against Bradley.
Now Jamaal Foster really getting active. Watch these guys going up above O'Brien. Extends, goes right up straight with him. But this is as active as I have seen Jamaal Foster on the offensive end. I think he's really taken the challenge inside, going up against the 7-footer Patrick O'Brien. That last 2 plays for him as aggressive looks as I've seen him offensively try to commit.
That foul is on Wright of Bradley. That's his second personal foul. And here's Foster at the foul line, and he'll replace, beg your pardon, Wright will be replaced by Adams, who checks in for Bradley. We didn't expect to see much of him today. So Foster at the line, 15-13.
Curtis Shaw and Steve Olson discussing dinner plans right now. Trying to figure out whether the score is correct.
And meanwhile, David Hall is over at the scorer's table, and they've got some discrepancy as to whether the score is right or not. And by my elementary bookkeeping, 15-13 should be the accurate score after that foul shot.
Never could add, so I don't try to get involved in those discussions.
And Foster is good on the second despite the delay. The only discrepancy on the scoreboard right now is the fact that there should be 17 fouls against Bradley, not 6. Southern Illinois is in the 1-and-1 from here on out. 5 whistles have gone against the Salukis. Here's Bennett circling around the floor. Adams finds Ruffin, and Ruffin's shot is no good, and Falker has the rebound for the Salukis. Tatum with the tough shot off the glass.
Boy, how about that move? Just explosive, gets him on the hip, all the way to the glass.
First lead of the ball game for Southern Illinois, and there's the second steal of the game for Mullins.
How smart is that? The double team, and Bryan Mullins, the interceptor, just continues to shoot the gap there defensively. Gets in for the steal. Great read and anticipation by Bryan Mullins.
And that ball tapped out of bounds by Adams. And that takes us to a break. Southern Illinois have fell behind by 8 early. They've come back with this basket by Jamaal Tatum to take the first lead of the game for the Salukis. Southern Illinois here at home in Carbondale with a 1-point lead on Bradley, 16-15, 7:50 remaining in the first half. College basketball on ESPNU continues Wednesday night with an ACC showdown as Justin Gray and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the Clemson Tigers. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Wednesday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Justin Gray off to a terrific start in 13 games, averaging nearly 18 points per contest. Outstanding foul shooter on the year. One game earlier this year, hit 13 of 13 in a game against Wisconsin. So Chris Paul's gone. Justin Gray takes over for the Demon Deacons. Here's Tony Young trying to take over for Southern Illinois. That 3-point try rims out. Jamaal Foster pulls down another rebound, and there's another whistle against Bradley, and that will go against Marcellus Somerville, who has had, Chris, a very, very quiet day today.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit this year shooting the ball. He was 3 for 20 against Wichita State. 3 for 10 last time out against Drake, only shooting 38% on the year. You know, this Bradley team, their rebound margin only +5, and I say only because you've got Patrick O'Brien in there at 7 foot. You've got Marcellus Somerville as well inside. You've got Lawrence Wright, who is just a tremendous athlete. You think this Bradley team would have a little bit, or done a little bit better job on the boards. Drake, offensive rebounds against Jim Less's team, which ultimately cost them that game against Drake. But the thing about rebounding isn't always the guys that are the tallest and the longest. It's about turning and getting the body on them, and Southern Illinois just out quicking them right now to the glass.
Foster 1 of 2 that trip to the line to give Southern Illinois a 2-point advantage, 17-12, coming up on the 7-minute mark remaining. Here's Adams for three from the top of the key. Back iron, no good, and Tatum has the rebound. And Jamaal's not shy. A few too many shakes before the bake and nearly turned it over.
Tatum's numbers down quite a bit. That pick and roll has really worked well for Southern Illinois. That time Bradley getting off on the weak side, though, negating an open spot for Falker.
12 seconds to shoot. And Foster telegraphed that pass, tapped out of bounds by Adams at Southern Illinois basketball. With Chris Piper, I'm Bill Dolman. We're at the SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois. Bradley against Southern Illinois in Missouri Valley Conference basketball. Bradley 2-2 in conference play, shooting at 37%. Meanwhile, Southern Illinois, the top team in the Valley, at 3-0 in the league, bouncing back from an early 10-2 deficit. And off the miss, Tatum misses two in that possession. O'Brien has the board to clear it for the Braves. Falker with the interception.
Well, Jim Les told me before the game that this game was going to come down to loose balls and unforced errors, and it was a team that got to those loose balls and didn't make the silly turnovers that was going to win. And right now, silly turnovers and not getting looks at the basket are killing Bradley.
Falker with a nice catch, getting some contact from O'Brien, drops it in. Just too quick for Patrick O'Brien. Adams ahead of the pack. Gets major contact from Randal Falker, and that will send Adams to the foul line.
Again, transition for Bradley. That's the thing, getting down the floor, trying to make something happen. But turnovers has kind of been the story so far in this game. Bradley coming down the floor, Dan Ruffin just throwing it right out of bounds. And again, looking over the top, Patrick O'Brien had the position, but they don't get the pass there. And again, Tony Bennett on the double team down on the baseline. You just can't make lackadaisical passes against this Southern Illinois team. They've got an ability to speed you up on the offensive end. You need to stay within the framework as much as possible.
Danny Adams, 1 of 2 that trip to the foul line to make it a 3-point ball game. 19-16 Southern Illinois. And here comes Zach Andrews back into the lineup for the Braves, wearing 21, replacing Patrick O'Brien. Young, Foster, Tatum, Falker, and Wesley Clemens on the floor for Southern Illinois in white. 5:45 remaining in the first half.
Bradley, 8 turnovers, keeping Southern Illinois in this game. Southern Illinois is a team that is not very efficient on the offensive end, so any help you can give them gets them right back in it. Nice double team by Marcellus Somerville, and then gets back.
Adams with the steal, and it's poked away by Tony Young. A great defensive play by the junior out of Schaumburg.
Danny Adams getting a steal. Watch Tony Young just slide through here so fast.
Valley Defensive Player of the Year is my early pick. Tony Young, just a guy that gets all over the place.
Adams just had too much territory to get to the basket. That gave Young enough time to recover. And on the inbounds play, we've got ourselves a whistle on a foul that goes against Bradley, and that's another Brave turnover. That foul goes against Tony Bennett, his 3rd personal foul.
Fouls mounting up right now for Bradley. Might have to go to zone here pretty quick.
And Bennett got a hand in there, but the foul, I believe, was away from the basketball, and that's a sigh of relief for Bradley. If Bennett gets 4, you may not see him till the end of the game.
Not sure why he's still out there.
And we've got a technical foul that's been whistled against Bradley. And that goes against Jim Les. And that will send Tony Young to the foul line to shoot 2. And Young is good. Young is a 94% foul shooter. He's made now 7 in a row. 16 of 17 on the season. And good shooters get the whole roll, and it gets that one to go down. And Southern Illinois has opened up its biggest lead of the game, 21-16, a 5-point advantage with just over 5 minutes remaining. Is that a situation where Jim Les, Chris, is upset with the officiating or a little upset with his team?
Got to be both right now. I mean, the unforced errors for Bradley, giving Southern Illinois opportunities to get baskets before Bradley can get their defense set. But at the same time, foul trouble. He's got to let the officials know that, hey, we're here too as well. A lot of times that's a calculated technical.
21-16. It's a 19-6 run for Southern Illinois. Right, with 8 early points. Somerville 6 rebounds, but they need to get him more involved in the scoring column. And that ball saved by Bennett. Terrific play by Tony Bennett just to keep the ball in play. And his shot is then blocked by Falker. And Tatum, there's going to be a whistle and a foul that goes against Falker. It looked like Tatum may have taken steps, but if there's a foul before, and that's a turnover to Bradley. A couple of mental errors in the last 2 possessions by SIU. And Mullins has come back in. College basketball on ESPNU continues Monday night with a matchup between MEAC conference rivals as Howard takes on Hampton. College basketball tipping off on ESPNU Monday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Bennett throws it off of Young, and Bradley will maintain possession with 4.5 minutes remaining in the opening half.
Bennett still on the floor with 3 fouls. That 3 fouls is right, Bill?
Well, I'm looking at the scoreboard indicated they had 3, but the official stats monitor that we have in front of us.
All right, so he's only got 2.
As he has 2, Andrews has 2, Wright has 2. Bennett does drain a 3 there to close the margin to within 2. Sure seems like it's bigger than that, though.
It'd be a big gamble for Jim Les to have Tony Bennett out there with 3 fouls this much time to go in the first half.
And the folks here in Carbondale hoping that was his 3rd foul.
That's right. Wishful thinking.
Foster with a spin move on Somerville. Did everything but finish the shot.
Still young, still raw. He had the left baseline move, but not comfortable going to his left hand. He goes back to his right. Somerville there.
Ruffin leaves it for Andrews, who flies in for the dunk.
Now, one of the few times that you've seen Bradley be able to get through on the second rotation defensively there by Southern Illinois. They got flat on the baseline, nobody getting off to the ball, and nice pass to Andrews in the middle.
That dunk ties it up at 21. And Andrews took an elbow from Boyle, who's come in. And that knocked him to the floor.
It won't be the first elbow that Boyle administers during his career.
Young from way outside. That rims off. Boyle has the rebound. Taken away by Bennett. Tough pass to Somerville. Off the baseline, comes up short. Easy rebound, though, for Zach Andrews. And Bradley, after giving up a 19-6 run, has scraped together a 23-21 lead.
Loose balls, come up with it, got to lay up.
Well, they have worked extremely hard to get that lead back. Tony Young goes off the glass with a sweet kiss for 2.
A tough matchup there for Danny Adams, trying to guard Tony Young, the senior. Danny Adams originally a walk-on for Bradley. He's matched up now with Tony Young because of the foul problems that Bradley's got.
And a 30-second timeout has been taken by Jim Les with 2.5 minutes remaining in the opening half in a ball game that's tied at 23. Well, Bradley, it does seem as though they worked extremely hard to get this game back to a 23-all tie, which, as we've talked about a couple of times already, plays into the hands of the Salukis. They like the street fight kind of game.
Yeah, they want to get in a half-court battle, and that's exactly where they're at. I mean, the 8-game winning streak, nobody scored over 55 points against them, so 23-23 here, only a couple minutes to go in the first half. That is Southern Illinois' speed for sure. Watch the nice pass there, the double team, and Clemens late coming over on that weak side, and now they're forcing it again. To see Bradley, the spurts that they've had really against the defense not set, getting transition a little bit. That's just a lucky play there. The bounce off the glass. Marcellus Somerville thought he got fouled, and Andrews was able to pick up that one. Zach Andrews with 2 fouls.
Zach Andrews is a terrific story. Lived in foster homes most of his young life in Sacramento, California. Then in high school, one of his football teammates, the son of a single mother, befriended him, and the mother took him in and gave him a home and a place to stay, and at least some stability in his life. And he's earned a college scholarship, and he's really flourishing at Bradley. Great story. 23-all, and now the Braves have a chance to take the lead. Crouch has it slapped away from him, not once but twice. Mullins goes to the floor and takes it away from Franklin, who's come in. Mullins just wanted that loose ball more.
Yeah, he did. I think Will Franklin decided at the last second that Bryan Mullins was not going to pull up, playing a little game of chicken there on those two guys going for that loose ball.
Inside 2 minutes remaining in the opening half. 23 all here at the SIU Arena. Young to the baseline. Strong move. He scores. And he's fouled and a chance for a three-point play. That's determination.
Tony Young baseline move, just getting all the way through before anybody comes over from Bradley to help. Jeremy Crouch unable to guard him out there. They've had Danny Adams on him. He can't hold him. Jeremy Crouch as well, struggling to play defense for Bradley on the weak side.
That foul was on Crouch, and we come back. Young will have a chance to make it a three-point game. Southern Illinois with a 25-23 lead on Bradley. Tony Young will be at the foul line when play resumes. Just over a minute and a half remaining here in the first half. Coming up at halftime, got a feature on Marcellus Somerville that we'll bring to you. Also a breakdown of the first half plus highlight stats and a whole lot more. Marcellus Somerville entered this 2005-2006 season as arguably one of the contenders for Conference Player of the Year, but boy, it has been a quiet day today so far. No points, 0 of 4 from the floor. He has done a good job on the boards. He has 6 rebounds, a senior out of Peoria, two-time first-team all-conference selection.
Watching Bradley, I just don't get the feel that they have a rhythm offensively yet where all their guys are on the same page. And, you know, a guy like Marcellus Somerville, he has to get shots in his comfort zone. And I'm not quite sure they've figured out yet, the other players on the floor, how to get him in those positions.
A foul goes against Bryan Mullins. That'll be his second personal foul. Will Franklin will step to the foul line. Franklin is a junior out of Houston. And that's 18 fouls now on SIU in the first half. Could it be, Chris, that Bradley and Somerville are not into an offensive flow because Patrick O'Brien has come back into the lineup after missing 8 games?
Well, maybe, but, you know, he missed 8 games. He didn't miss all those practices, so you're working with him at the same time. Obviously, he might not be in the first team, but I think point guard position has kind of held Bradley back just a little bit. Will Franklin starting to get in the flow of things. Daniel Ruffin has had his moments for them as well, but just a sophomore. So, you know, they run a lot of set plays. I'm not quite sure that they've found their comfort zone on the offensive end yet.
Franklin, like Patrick O'Brien, wanted to that trip. Franklin sat out 6 games because of an extra benefit violation. And he's only played 6 games this year, but all 4 Missouri Valley games now, all 5 Missouri Valley games. Here's Jamaal Tatum. Going down low to Tony Boyle. And Clemens will fire up the 3 and hit it. Back up to a 5-point lead for SIU. Second time they've led by as many as 5. 29-24, 1:04 left to play in the opening half. First 3-point field goal of the game for SIU in 8 attempts.
I think SIU has a little bit of defense. They're 1 of 8 from 3, and they're up by 5.
Shooting 34% overall.
Yeah. Just another daily effort by Southern Illinois.
They forced 10 Bradley turnovers. The Braves shooting 41%. Here's Somerville from the corner. That's a big shot for Bradley.
And that's the spot that he likes to get a tough shot there. Tony Boyle getting a hand up just a little bit late, coming to help, though. Gave Marcellus Somerville just enough room to get his shoulders turned, finish that shot.
Tatum with the basketball. 10 seconds to shoot now for Southern Illinois. 5 seconds now. This is Clemens in the corner over Adams. That's no good, and the rebound to Crouch. 15 seconds left of the first half. Good catch by Adams to maintain possession for Bradley, and they'll hold it for the final 9. Franklin gets a pick from Somerville. Crouch, 1 second to shoot it, forced it up. That's no good. He wanted a foul. He doesn't get it. And it's Southern Illinois who will go into the locker room with a hard-fought 29-27 lead. Bradley led early, 10-2 in the early going. Southern Illinois just could not get the shots to fall. They turned up the defensive intensity as they usually do. And it's the Salukis, the top team in the Missouri Valley, who lead it by 2 at the break. And Chris Piper standing by with Chris Lowry.
All right, thanks, Bill. Coach, obviously the defense, the thing to keeping you in the game. Patrick O'Brien, only 1 point. What do you see out there in the first half?
We got to stop everybody else. We did a good job on Bryant, but we really let everybody else get going. So in the second half, we got to make sure we contain everybody.
Obviously, Bradley, a lot of offensive weapons. You have to think in the second half you guys probably need to be a little more efficient on offense. Young having a great first half. What about Jamaal Tatum, getting him involved?
We got to get Jamaal going. He's getting some looks, but he's got to step up and make shots, and that's what your best player is supposed to do.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Chris. ESPN News presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. Great service, great rates. That's why 40 million drivers trust State Farm. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Got a feature on Marcellus Somerville. We'll break down the first half and a whole lot more. Southern Illinois leads Bradley by 2. They march to the beat of their own drum here in Carbondale, Illinois, where they love defense. And we've got a defensive battle going on in the Missouri Valley this afternoon. Southern Illinois with a 2-point lead, 29-27 over the Bradley Braves. With Chris Piper, I'm Bill Loman, just underway with action in the second half. And a very quick whistle against Jamaal Tatum of Southern Illinois. And that's his first personal foul, coming 13 seconds into the second half.
Clearing out the side there for Tony Bennett, letting him go one-on-one with Jamaal Tatum. If he doesn't have anything available, Patrick O'Brien coming across for the post-up. I'd like to see him extend Tony Bennett out of the wing and try and post up Patrick O'Brien first, but to try to get Bennett going on easy play early there in the second half.
Here's Bennett with the basketball. Somerville, Ruffin, O'Brien, and Wright starting for Bradley in their Road Reds. Set the Southern Illinois lineup for you in just a moment. Here's Bradley, and they've gotten away with a carry. Southern Illinois 10-3 on the year, 3-0 in conference play. Bradley 8-4, 2-2 in the league with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Somerville has his 3 go over the backboard and out of bounds. And it's Saluki basketball as we take a look at the first half statistics.
Well, just a defensive battle. Look at field goals, though, for Bradley, 44%. The problem is not getting as many attempts as Southern Illinois. The Salukis 1 of 9, but the big story here has probably got to be turnovers by Bradley. 10 turnovers, and you just can't give Southern Illinois more opportunities at the basket.
Randal Falker has his shot blocked once, but not twice by O'Brien. And that whistle goes against the Bradley big guy. And that will be his second personal foul. 2 fouls and just 1 point for Patrick O'Brien, who's entering this ball game averaging 13 points and 11 rebounds per game. And here's Randal Falker at the foul line.
And the difference, I think, Bill, so far in this game is the 2 different offensive strategies by both teams. For Southern Illinois, you've seen them, especially in the first 10 minutes of the first half, pounding the ball inside to Randal Falker. Again, here in the second half, trying to get foul trouble against Bradley's big man. But Bradley, on the other hand, only 1 attempt by Patrick O'Brien. You've got to get the big guys some touches.
And try and pick up some fouls on the Salukis. They don't have a very deep bench, especially when it's in the front court. And over and back, that's Tony Young, who forced Somerville to lose the basketball. Marcellus thought it was last touched by Young, but that's not the case. And that's another Bradley turnover, number 11 in the game.
Tough to get the ball inside if you can't get the ball past the three-point line, and we saw that with Southern Illinois' defense against Wichita State. 11 turnovers by Bradley. They only averaged just over 15 on the season.
And Mullins drug his pivot foot, tried to sell it. David Hall caught him, and the Salukis give the basketball right back. Mullins, Shaw, Young, Tatum, and Falker for Southern Illinois, and Chris Lowry in their home white uniforms. 30-27, SIU on top of Bradley. This is Ruffin with the basketball. He had a monster game against Creighton last week. 13 assists and just 1 turnover. And that put him atop the standings in the assist category in the Valley. There's Mullins with another steal, his 3rd of the game. Falker working around O'Brien. O'Brien didn't want to pick up his 3rd foul, and he allowed the basket.
Smart move by Bryan Mullins there. He lost the opportunity initially, and so instead of trying to make a great play and giving back the hard work He waited, gave the ball to Falker, who can make the move inside.
And Bennett is tied up on his way to the basket, and that held ball whistle gives the ball back to Southern Illinois.
Again, shooting the gap for Bryan Mullins. Now watch right there. Nice idea. Instead of trying to make something great happen, give it to Randal Falker in a position where he can make something happen underneath. And the problem with Patrick O'Brien that I've noticed here this afternoon defensively is when he gets inside, his man gets the ball, he has a tendency to stand straight up, and that allows Falker to go around him.
Tatum in trouble underneath the basket, and he's fouled by Bennett, and that's the third personal foul on Tony Bennett.
I don't think Bradley can afford to have Tony Bennett out of this game. He's starting to walk. He knows he's got substitution coming, but he's going to get one more possession here. You're going to have to set him and wait for the latter part of the game.
Tony Young pulls up for three, and he hits it.
Lawrence Wright. Or Tony Young. I was thinking Lawrence Wright was defensive.
And that three-point field goal gives Southern Illinois its biggest lead of the ballgame, 35-27, and forces Bradley to use a timeout. Tony Young had 11 points in the first half, and he didn't cool off during the break. Bradley led by 8 in the first half in the first 6 minutes of the ball game. Here with 2.5 minutes gone by in the second half, Southern Illinois has opened up its biggest lead of the game at 8 points thanks to the three-point field goal by Tony Young, who now has 14 points in the game to lead all scorers. Bradley has the basketball, and Chris, they're in need of a basket.
Yeah, they are. You'd like to think they can get the ball inside the paint, but Tony Young, I mean, this guy can guard anybody on the floor. He's 6 foot. He'll pick up your best guard or your best big man. He's got Marcellus Somerville inside the paint trying to post him, and he ends up forcing the turnover. I don't think he's going to guard O'Brien, but maybe.
Bradley's first 5 possessions of the second half, 0 for 1 from the floor and 4 turnovers.
Not probably where you want to be offensively.
Good pass to Falker, now working on O'Brien, who blocks the shot. In just a season and a half, Patrick O'Brien has become in the top 5, and the right misses the easy dunk. He'll get another chance here, lost the handle on it. And Danny Adams for 3, and he's fouled. Finish up on O'Brien. He's now in the top 5 and blocked shots at Bradley. A whole lot of activity taking place on the offensive end for Bradley.
Lawrence Wright does not miss many of those opportunities. He leads this team in dunks, which is amazing with Patrick O'Brien on there, but he misses 2. Danny Adams, this is the jumper. Kind of been the story offensively, I think, for Bradley here after that 8-0 run early, extremely early in the first half. They have been a little cold on offense.
Now, there was a foul away from the basketball. That was an O'Brien, not on the shot taken by Adams. And then Shaw is fouled by Adams on the other end. So O'Brien goes to the bench with 3 personal fouls. And Shaw will go to the foul line on the Salukis end. College basketball on ESPNU continues Monday night with a matchup between Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference rivals as the Howard Bison take on the Hampton Pirates. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Monday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. And Shaw connects on the first of 2. That's 14 fouls now on Bradley here in the second half. And Bennett will check into the game with 3 personal fouls and replace Adams. Matt Shaw's a sophomore. Took over a start midway through his freshman year. He's never given it up. Had a terrific NCAA tournament last year, averaging 11 points in the Salukis 2 games. They beat St. Mary's and then lost a thriller against Oklahoma State. There's a look at Bradley's last 6 possessions and now at a 7th possession. Well, they're going to maintain it. They say it was last touched by the Salukis. Looked like Ruffin may have thrown it off the back of the backboard. And it was last touched by Southern Illinois, so they don't turn the ball over, and that's a break for the Braves.
Yeah, it was deflected up underneath the backboard.
12 seconds to shoot for Wright. Jumped into a double team, forces that shot up, and it's taken away by Falker. Numbers for the Salukis. Wesley Clemens will give it to Tatum, and they're going to show some patience.
Randal Falker was just looking anywhere. He wanted to get that ball out of his hands. Wise move. He's not the guy to lead them in transition.
Right, back iron, too strong. And the rebound to Clemens.
See, you just feel like Bradley right now has lost their way. They don't know what they're doing out on the floor offensively. They're just kind of looking around. They need somebody to step up and get them in the right play. Get a good look at the basket.
Clemens gives off to Shaw, who got right out of position, and Shaw glides in there for the dunk.
Great job by Matt Shaw. You know, initially I think he was thinking he was going to continue to flare to the baseline and shoot the jumper, but nobody for Bradley comes over to help out defensively.
Another timeout taken by Jim Less and the Bradley Braves. Biggest lead of the game for either team. Southern Illinois by 12.
Nice pass watch. Look, I think right there that Shaw's thinking, hey, I'm going to pull up a little jumper, one dribble, but instead he sees nobody coming over to help out defensively, and so he just takes it all the way to the baseline. Watch this move right here, just going on down. No weak side help whatsoever for Bradley coming over. And look at that, three guys turning and looking. You got to get off to the ball, something that Southern Illinois talks about all the time. Get centered on the floor and get over, and they do not do that.
Bradley has the basketball, but they got some work to do. Shaw's dunk has given the Salukis a 12-point advantage. And look at the shooting here in the second half. Bradley shooting 44% in the first 20 minutes, but has yet to make a shot since coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Well, I don't think they've really ever got themselves in the offense that they want to do. It's just kind of looking around a little bit, waiting for somebody to make a play.
Bennett has that bounce off. Somerville crashing the boards, going off the glass. That rolls off, pulled down by Shaw.
Somerville shying away from the contact that time rather than going right at it. He's got to use his strength and finish. Somerville young a little bit right now at Lawrence Wright.
And Mullins has it taken away by Ruffin. See if the break can get the Braves on the board, and Ruffin threw it away. And that will take us to a timeout. Another break that Bradley desperately needs. Matt Shaw flying in for points 3 and 4 in the day and a 12-point lead for the Salukis. Southern Illinois has outscored Bradley 10-0 here in the second half, but it's not as though that Bradley hasn't had chances.
Well, 15 turnovers in the second half, and this is why. Watch the 3-on-2 fast break here. Hold it right there. Look at what we got. 3 lanes being covered right now, and here's the passing angle right through there. A little simple bounce pass, and you've got a dunk, but instead, Ruffin waits. He goes over the top. Curtis Shaw can't come up with a catch, and Southern Illinois ball.
Well, Bradley needs a little help wherever he can get it. Thought maybe Curtis Shaw might help him out. Not the case. Excellent officiating crew today. David Hall, Steve Olson, Curtis Shaw. A couple of those guys who officiated the Final Four. Another guy in the regional finals. Salukis miss out of the timeout. 39-27. And there's a foul on Shaw, way from the basket, guarding up against Marcellus Somerville. Second team foul, only the second team foul of the second half on the Salukis. Bradley's been whistled 4 times. That's the 3rd personal foul on Matt Shaw, and he'll go to the bench. Jamaal Foster has come back in for SIU.
You know, the unfortunate thing is Bradley has not been able to capitalize on those fouls that they got in the first half early, because in the second half they haven't been able to get their offense going. You don't generally get in foul trouble if the other team isn't forcing things on the offense. Bradley has struggled on the road in conference. 12 straight that they've lost, and Jim Less has not been able to figure out a way to do it. They've done shoot-arounds different. They've had shoot-arounds. They haven't had shoot-arounds. They've done walkthroughs at home. I mean, they've tried everything, and just right now I think the thing that they need to try is to get something going, get a leader on the floor.
And Tony Young gets the rebound out of the miss. Here's Tatum, willing to fire from anywhere. That's no good. Somerville has the rebound. Jamaal Tatum just 2 points, 1 of 8 from the floor. The end of this ball game, 2nd in the conference in scoring at 17 points a game. And another Bradley turnover.
Southern Illinois is great on defense. I mean, they are great on the defensive end. They caused that turnover with the double team.
College basketball on ESPNU continues Wednesday night with an ACC showdown as Justin Gray and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the Clemson Tigers. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Wednesday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Wake Forest 11-2 on the year. This will be their conference opener. Clemson off to a pretty good start as well. 12-3, 1-1 in league play.
ACC might be a little tough this year. I'm not sure.
Wesley Clemens hits the shot over Adams. That's a tough three, and it's a 15-point SIU lead. Will Franklin in there, kicking it back out to Adams. In and out, no good. And Falker and Foster battle for the rebound.
Unbelievable performance here in the second half by Southern Illinois. I mean, they are just dismantling a Bradley team that a lot of people thought had a legitimate shot of winning here this afternoon. This Bradley team, a lot of talent. They are just not playing on the same page right now.
Well, with Patrick O'Brien coming back to the Bradley lineup, this is a program that returned 5 starters from last year. Here's Jamaal Foster with 3 seconds of the shot clock missing. Wright has the rebound, and Franklin wants to run.
Well, they returned 5 starters, and they're not starting one of those guys. He got put down on the bench, which generally means somebody else is playing better. So you've got 6 starters for Bradley. Jeremy Crouch just has not been able to get it going offensively this year for Bradley. He's a guy that can give them the ability to shoot from the outside, something that we're obviously seeing they're missing.
Franklin swings it around to Wright. Adams all by himself in the corner. Good touch pass inside to O'Brien, who's come back, and he draws a foul on Jamaal Tatum. 13th foul of the half on Southern Illinois. And Jeremy Crouch will come back into the lineup for Bradley, replacing Adams. Mullins and Boyle check back in for SIU. 12:06 to play in the game. Southern Illinois trying to remain unbeaten in conference play and just ahead of Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa 4-1 in the conference.
Northern Iowa is the type of team you watch them getting off the bus and you're not really sure how good they're going to be, and then they just execute. They are so tough offensively.
And that whistle takes us to a timeout. It's a 15-point lead for SIU. Jim Les and company need to find some baskets. They've missed 11 shots in a row. Welcome back to the SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois. This is the Missouri Valley Conference on display with Bradley trying to plant some roots in the upper division of the Missouri Valley Conference, taking on the league leader, Southern Illinois, who is 3-0 in conference play, winners of 8 consecutive ball games. 42-27 is our score, and turnovers are always a factor that Southern Illinois takes to the floor.
Well, turnover margin, obviously, Southern Illinois' favor, +7 there. What that means, they've got 5 more attempts at the basket. 5 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you only shoot 40% from the floor on the season like Southern Illinois, every extra attempt that you get really helps out offensively.
That's the first point scored by Bradley in the second half. Their last basket came at the 52-second mark remaining of the first half. It was 29-27 at the break.
Now, Tony Bennett is a guy that I try and get in a 2-man game with Patrick O'Brien. Tony Bennett, the guy that can give you touches. A little half-court trap here now by Bradley. Run a little bit of clock off for Southern Illinois. Force Southern Illinois try and make something happen with only a few seconds left on the shot clock. Pretty good strategy by Jim Les.
9 seconds, 8 seconds. Tony Young puts up the 3 and delivers it.
Unless you don't guard Tony Young, and he's going to hit a 3. All right? I mean, you know, it's great strategy until your guys don't guard somebody with a few seconds left on the shot clock.
Tony Young has been in double figures every game of this season. He has 17, and there's an offensive foul called against Lawrence Wright of Bradley. And that's his 3rd personal foul.
Tony Young just going right over the top of Jeremy Crouch. Crouch playing him in that position to drive, which is okay early in the shot clock. But when there's only a few seconds left in the shot clock, Tony Young's not going to be able to drive past you and get a shot up. You got to get up in his face, got to have shot clock recognition on defense.
Well, heading into this year, Jamaal Tatum was getting most of the headlines, and deservedly so. Returning all-conference performer from a year ago. Tony Young, though, has been the leading scorer for Southern Illinois in conference play at more than 13 points a game. He has 17 already today. Wright pulls down the rebound off that miss by Wesley Clemens, and here come the Braves in red.
Well, Tony Young was the difference in the game against Wichita State. 17 points in that game. Then he came back with 15, and in his next, he's a senior, a guy that can make things happen. And I think as a senior, you have a little more impetus to make things happen on the offensive end. And Tony Young getting kind of in the rhythm. Jamaal Tatum is a guy that has struggled this season shooting the ball, I think, for Southern Illinois. He gets himself in some positions, sometimes makes his shot a little bit tougher than it needs to be.
There's Tony Bennett, foul on his way to the basket, and that shot rims out. Bennett, a 72% foul shooter, will have a second. Randal, Falker, and Jamaal Tatum come back into the lineup for SIU, replacing Tony Boyle and Wesley Clemens. And the free throw shooting in this ball game, Bradley having a tough time on the freebies as well, just getting there. Only 7 attempts so far.
And that tells you how good Southern Illinois' defense is. I mean, Bradley's the team with the inside guy. They should be at the free throw line, not Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois is a guard-oriented offense.
Well, I heard the comment made that when you want to guard Patrick O'Brien, who at 7 foot 260 pounds is an imposing guy underneath, one of the best ways to guard him is to make sure that your perimeter defense 25 feet away from the basket is tough, because that opens up the pass. That doesn't open up the passing lanes. There's just too much area to cover.
Well, you know, I think a lot of times people think that you should sag off on the perimeter to make it tough to throw inside, but actually the opposite is true, and that's great pressure on the perimeter. Doesn't allow you to stand there and aim that ball inside. And Southern Illinois, nobody better than them with pressure on the perimeter defensively.
And nobody knows better how to close up and step into those passing lanes than SIU. They anticipate so well defensively. There's Young off the dribble, missing the 3 seconds of the shot clock. Falker has the rebound, and now he's in some trouble, and he calls a timeout.
Smart move there with Falker getting close to the 3-second inside.
9:51 to play in the ball game. It's a 15-point lead for Southern Illinois. College basketball on ESPNU continues Monday night with a matchup between Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference rivals as the Howard Bison take on the Hampton Pirates. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Monday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Well, Southern Illinois 10-3 on the year. They got off to a 2-3 start. Went up to the Great Alaska Shootout, and they didn't play all that well up there. And you saw scores in that tournament that just very un-Southern Illinois-like. Those numbers, though, are numbers that you kind of get used to with this team because of its great defense. Field goal shooting by opponents, just 39% in conference play against the Salukis. Chris Lowry told us last week, as Tatum puts up that shot and misses, Crouch has the rebound, that he had a young team. They have no seniors on this Southern Illinois roster for the first time in a long, long time. No scholarship seniors. And the younger guys have kind of gotten used to the tradition of winning here in Carbondale. And there's a whistle and a foul against Bryant.
Well, you know, the amazing thing about Southern Illinois, 4 straight Missouri Valley Conference regular titles. And moving pick here, Patrick O'Brien trying to get the contact with Jamaal Tatum rather than waiting for the contact. Southern Illinois 4 straight NCAA bids, but they've done that with 3 different coaches. So you think, okay, Matt Painter takes over for Bruce Weber. Things are going to change. Well, they don't, because he wins. Then Matt Painter goes to Purdue. Chris Lowry takes over. You think things are going to change. They don't. You know, what's established here is that these guys, the seniors, turn it over to the younger guys. Last year, Darren Brooks, Stetson Hairston were the seniors. They've established a chip on their shoulder. They're the best team in the Valley, and to get the Valley title, you got to come through us to do it. And you see that, especially late in the game as well. They turn it up defensively, and they expect to win. And I think you got to go back to Bruce Weber. I mean, what a job he did changing the culture here to get him to think that way.
And there's a foul on Randal Falker. That's his 3rd personal foul. Each team with 16 fouls now in the second half. And yeah, they've changed coaches now 3 times in 4 years, but they all came from what Chris Lowry said. They came from the family.
All in the family. That's right.
Bruce Weber, Matt Painter, and Chris Lowry. Painter and Lowry learning under Bruce Weber, so the system hasn't changed.
And you know, and sometimes, though, assistant coaches will change. They're going to change a little bit. But, I mean, a style might be something that an assistant coach, yeah, I did it with the head coach, but maybe I don't like it as much. But they've run motion offense here. That's what Bruce Weber did. That's what Matt Painter did. That's what Chris Lowry. They all have the same defensive principles, and that is get up in your face from the minute you come out of the locker room. And those are the things that win for Southern Illinois.
3-on-1 break. Here's Bennett. Blocked by Falker. All by himself. He turns the Braves away.
That's it. That's the only play you need to see of the whole game to know what's happened. 3-on-1 break by Bradley, and they don't get anything whatsoever. 3-on-1 again. That's what we're talking about. 3 guys, and instead of giving the ball back and forth, Tony Bennett takes it all the way, which makes it easy for Jamaal Falker. They turn it into a 2-on-1. I was thinking that was a good opportunity for him to drop the ball off and get the easy dunk behind it. But Randal Falker, great job running the floor, 5 block shots.
Mullins right down the lane. Missed it, but it's tipped up and in by Foster. 47-30. An 18-3 start to the second half for Southern Illinois. Somerville with Falker on his hip, trying to create some space, and Falker wouldn't move. Somerville will try the 3, in and out, no good. And the rebound to Jamaal Foster. There's a foul on Bradley. That'll go against Lawrence Wright, and that'll take us to a timeout. Everybody getting involved. Mullins takes it down the lane on a nice move, but he gets the tip in and the help from Foster. Southern Illinois taking control 47-30 over the Braves of Bradley. 7:42 left to play in this Missouri Valley Conference contest. And this is a matchup that has 2 of the top point guards this conference has ever seen matching whips on the sidelines. Jim Less, an outstanding point guard for Bradley back in the mid-1980s. Chris Lowry started here at SIU in the early 1990s. Pretty comparable numbers.
Yeah, 2 pretty good point guards, weren't they? Jim Less, a guy that went on a long NBA career, 7 years. Played with a guy by the name of Hersey Hawkins, who was, you know, average scorer, I think. Hersey Hawkins could score from anywhere.
3,008 career points for Jim Less's former teammate Hersey Hawkins. Jim Less in his 4th year on the Braves bench, 48-53. The former Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year back in 1986, and that team won the conference championship and went on to the NCAA tournament. In fact, that 86 Bradley team will be honored at halftime of their game against Evansville next Saturday, when they induct the 86 Bradley team into the school's Hall of Fame. Jamaal Foster at the foul line after the timeout. Good on the first.
Who is this guy? I mean, Jamaal Foster has come out of nowhere here. This is a breakout game for him career-wise. He has just been tremendous. I mean, not backing down whatsoever, attacking the basket. He's got good mobility, aggressiveness. Really has been the thing that he's had to bring to the game, and he's done that this afternoon. Well,
he only averages 2.5 points and 2.5 rebounds per game. About 15 minutes of contest, and that's just spelling Shaw and Falker.
20-3 run by Southern Illinois. Just tremendous job by Southern Illinois here in the second half.
Now let's revisit our Star Watch. We talked about these guys at the top of the broadcast, and neither one has had a very good day, although not for lack of trying by Jamaal Tatum. 1 of 10 from the floor, but Patrick O'Brien, Bradley's just never found a way to get him involved in the game.
No, they haven't. You know, they haven't run a lot of plays his way. I don't think he's been extremely aggressive inside wanting the ball either, but Jamaal Tatum is a guy, I think, that has to get it on track for Southern Illinois. They can win games like this at home where the offense is shooting 34%, but they can't do that on the road against the good teams. They've got to have Jamaal Tatum get on track and start hitting some shots. And I think maybe he needs to forget a little bit about the shot, forget about the offensive end, take only the things that come to him wide open, get himself going that way. He does everything else on the floor correct. Just got to get something to go offensively.
Foster go to the floor and try and save the possession, and it's O'Brien who dives down there and calls the timeout. Well, we had good reason to pick those guys for our Star Watch. Tatum is the 2nd leading scorer in the Missouri Valley, and Patrick O'Brien is the reigning Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Week. College basketball on ESPNU continues Wednesday night with an ACC showdown as Justin Gray and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the Clemson Tigers. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Wednesday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. 7:12 left to play here in Carbondale, and Southern Illinois leads Bradley 49-31. Now after this, Southern Illinois takes on Evansville on the 11th, and then they hit the road to take on Drake on the 14th. Currently, SIU's been able to get out to this 3-0 start in conference play thanks to a favorable schedule. 4 of their first 5 league games played right here at this arena, where they have won 29 consecutive and are 59-1 since the 2001-2002 season. That lone loss in the last 4 years was a loss to Charlotte back on the 2nd of January.
Well, favorable schedule so far, Bill, but just coming up next weekend, they start at Drake, at Northern Iowa, at Missouri State. 3 games in a row in a week. Going to be pretty tough for them. on the road. That kind of is where things start seeing who's going to establish themselves in the league once you get about 2 or 3 weeks through the season.
But suffice it to say, this Southern Illinois team has been able to develop a pretty good dose of confidence here at home.
No question. You know, they were, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, struggling in Alaska. I mean, just not playing Southern Illinois basketball. And I think sometimes when you lose guys that would just really were such an integral part of the program, like Darren Brooks and Stetson Hairston were, you realize what all that they did for you. I mean, they did so much besides just make the big plays. I mean, they did all the little things as well, and you forget what they did, and all of a sudden you realize, hey, they're not here to do that anymore, and these things that was getting done, we have to find a way to do it. I think Bryan Mullins at the point guard spot, moving Jamaal Tatum to the off guard spot, really has helped the Southern Illinois team.
Patrick O'Brien, 2 points, both coming from the foul line. 2 for 3 from the stripe. All 3 of his points now coming from the foul line. 49-33, 6.5 minutes left to play. Well, early on, as I mentioned, Southern Illinois was 2-3 to start the season with losses to Alaska and Monmouth. Also a loss to St. Louis. But the scores of those games, you saw opponents scoring 70 or 80 points, and that's just not the way they play basketball here and haven't done it for many years. They want games in the 60s, 50s if possible, and they've been keeping a lot of teams under 50. Young with a tough shot. Got that one to fall in off the glass, overrode Boyle.
Dan Ruffin pushing the ball down the floor, drew the double team. O'Brien actually lost that going up and found its way in the basket.
51-35.
I don't think it would be interesting if we would have charted this to see how many times Bradley has scored against this SIU set defense. Southern Illinois was not set that time. That 8-0 run that we saw in the first half, they were all opportunities against Southern Illinois' defense before they got set.
Young gets the long rebound after his own miss. And a fresh 35 for the Salukis. Bradley's 2-2 in conference play. Both of their losses, though, 2-point losses. One in overtime at Wichita State. And they lost by 2, 75-73 the other night at Drake. Their schedule gets a little favorable, and there's a foul that goes against Ruffin. Their schedule gets a little more favorable after this. They've got 4 of their next 5 games at home. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining, Ruffin, that's his first personal foul. He will exit.
Well, it'll be interesting to watch Chris Lowry here in this last 5 minutes for Southern Illinois, the head coach, how he substitutes and how he uses timeouts. Really, a lot of his guys out there extremely tired. They only have 7 guys for the most part that they're able to play. Austin Brooks out with the groin injury. He's not playing, sitting on the bench in street clothes. So Tony Young pretty tired out there. Jamaal Foster playing more minutes than he's used to. They do have the 17-point lead, so let's watch him how he uses substitution here in the last 5 minutes to keep these guys on the floor.
And Young connects on both foul shots. He'll go get a break. Bryan Mullins will come back in, and Young leads to a near standing ovation, and deservedly so. 53-35 with 5 minutes remaining. Will Franklin is in there. Ray Brown is also checked in. He's got the basketball here. Somerville for 3. That one goes in for him. Second three-pointer of the day for Somerville, who now has 6 points in the game. Marcellus just 2 of 11 from the floor in the game.
Boy, he has really struggled in Valley play shooting the ball.
He had a stretch of 3 games where he topped the 20-point mark and then kind of went into a funk where he had 3 games and scored 25 points total. They thought that he had shot his way out of it. He had 19 against Creighton, then 14 the other night against Drake. But against this Southern Illinois defense, it's been tough for him to get a shot. Shot clock at 7 seconds. And a turnover by Southern Illinois.
Bryan Mullins lost the ball out of bounds. A little defensive pressure by Bradley. You know, the thing that's been better for Bradley this season has been the defensive end. I mean, they're a team last year that you could kind of outscore Bradley and be okay. This year they kind of bought more into the defensive side, but they struggled here this afternoon against Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois already getting past their pretty close to their average. Still quite a bit of time left.
Franklin puts up a three. That's no good. Brown crashes the board, kept it alive to Somerville, who's fouled, and he gets it to roll around and in. So Marcellus is going on a bit of a scoring run.
Falker and his fourth personal foul, the 19th foul of the Salukis. Matt Shaw back in for
So
SIU.
strong inside.
Shaw replacing
Just able to get active, get guys up. Marcellus Somerville. You know, I continue to try and figure out what's going on with this Bradley offense. And I was watching Marcellus Somerville over there picking up his contact from underneath his foot. I was trying to figure out how he was doing that. Stepped on the contact, but it's okay. Maybe that'll get it back in focus for him from the outside. But this Bradley team kind of on 5 different pages, I think, when they're on the floor. They really just don't seem to have a continuity offensively. I don't know what you're seeing, Bill, out there, but just hard to figure them out on the offensive end. Well,
A good hustle rebound to keep this possession alive, and Somerville hits the side of the backboard. He thought he was fouled by Falker. Well, I'm wondering if Will Franklin, coming back from his NCAA suspension, we've seen him periodically throughout the day today. Ruffin had a solid day a couple of nights ago against Creighton at the 13 assists, 1 turnover, leads the league in assists, but I'm wondering if Franklin is the guy that might be the one to handle the point guard duties. Southern Illinois made a change at point guard, putting Bryan Mullins in after 3 games. And since he's been in the lineup, they're 9-1. And Mike Dale, who started the first 3 games of the year, eventually left the squad. Well, it's a 13-point ball game with 3.5 to play. Southern Illinois right now comfortably on top. Well, if Bradley can get hot, maybe they can make it run. But right now, it's the Salukis on top of the Braves by 13, 53-40, 3.5 left to play in the game. These two teams have played some tight ball games here at the SIU Arena going back to 2004. That shot there put Bradley on top with 3 seconds to go. But then Darren Brooks hit Sylvester Willis with time running out, and Southern Illinois kept its win streak alive, improved to 17-0 in the Valley, and went on to the NCAA tournament. Sometimes you got to be a little lucky and good.
That's right. You got to be able to know how to win games at the end to get in all those NCAA tournaments that Southern Illinois has been able to do. This is a team that knows how to close out.
29 consecutive wins here in this building. It's the 3rd longest home winning streak active in the country right now. Gonzaga and Illinois both have won 30 consecutive games on their respective home floors as Jamaal Tatum connects on 1 of 2 foul shots. Good pass by Franklin along the baseline to Crouch, who's come in and he hits a 3.
Big 3 for Jeremy Crouch. I think his first of the game. He has struggled shooting the ball on the season. And that was what he was known for last year, the ability to shoot the 3, 22% from the floor on the season.
And a steal by Franklin on the inbounds play. Crouch again from the top of the key. That's no good. And the long rebound off the fingertips. Last touch by Tatum of SIU. It's Bradley basketball. Well, 54-43.
A lot of
3:02.
3 minutes left. Southern Illinois, not a great team in the half-court offense. You got some time. This Bradley team, a lot of athletic ability on the floor.
Somerville trying to take over. Comes up shot. That was a very tough attempt over Matt Shaw.
You can't have that kind of shot attempt when you're trying to make a comeback. I mean, tendency to think you're going to get 11 points back on 1 shot.
54-43.
You know, you better watch out because I'll start out and get you out of the way.
2.5 to play. It's within reach, but when Southern Illinois goes into this disciplined half-court offense, it's very, very tough to get the basketball back and almost impossible to come back when Young's feeling it the way he is.
And this Southern Illinois team thinks it owns the last 3 minutes of the game, and that shows you their mentality there, the senior stepping up with the big 3.
Crouch has it stripped away by Young, saves it to Falker. And we come up on 2 minutes remaining.
All guys trying to do the wrong thing for Bradley in that situation. Jeremy Crouch, a standstill shooter. He's not the guy to put it on the floor and try and attack you offensively.
Mullins around Franklin. And the Salukis will be content to rattle off more seconds instead of go for points. Shaw bails out Falker. Randal gets it back, and Shaw's going to try this shot from outside. That's no good, and Crouch pulls down the rebound. Minute and a half remaining in the ball game. So Salukis very close on win number 4 in conference play. They're 11th of the year and extending their win streak to 9 consecutive. These two teams will meet again on Valentine's Day in Peoria. College basketball on ESPNU continues Wednesday night with an ACC showdown as Justin Gray and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the Clemson Tigers. College basketball tips off on ESPNU Wednesday at 7 Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Don't forget the Missouri Valley, of course, will have its postseason tournament in St. Louis. More information on that. Arch Madness. One of the great websites out there. Arch Madness. Somebody was created. And you can get all the information on tickets, directions, and all that. Hey, coming up after the conclusion of our ball game, you don't want to miss this. It's the 2006 Rose Bowl presented by City, Texas. 2 in the country taking on top-ranked USC. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but you don't want to miss it. It's coming up next right here on ESPNU.
Stick around for the end of that game. Is that what you're saying?
Mullins misses the foul shot.
All-time great performances ever by an athlete. Vince Young was just incredible.
Imagine if they'd hyped that game up just a little bit, what the audience would have been.
Set all kind of records, though, didn't it? Well, Southern Illinois staying on the top still, 4-0 in league play. Crouch with a quick 3, nailed it. Boy, he's been pretty steady off the bench for Jim Les and company. He's seen his minutes go down over the course of the last 4 games. Had a career high against Bowling Green with 18 points. All those points came in the first half. He's trying to match that here in the second half. Coming up for Bradley, again, the schedule doesn't get easy in the Missouri Valley, as good as the conference has been this year, but it gets a little easier for them because they're back at home. 4 of their next 5 will take place at home, with the road game at Creighton sandwiched in there. And who knows what we're going to get out of the Creighton Blue Jays the rest of this year. We talked about it during halftime with Nate Funk being put on the shelf for the rest of the year. Southern Illinois, they'll be at home here against Evansville. Then 3 straight road games, Drake, Northern Iowa, and Missouri State. None of those will be easy. And then they come back home on the 22nd to take on Illinois State. You know, Dr. Tom Davis said Drake has really done a wonderful job of getting that team to adapt to his style of play. And I'll tell you what, you don't want to play Drake. I mean, they're just the type of team that drives you crazy. All the pressure, all the different defenses that they throw at you. As Bradley can attest to, they lost at Drake the last game out.
Southern Illinois won 4 consecutive Missouri Valley Conference regular season championships. But to give you an idea how tough the tournament's been, they've won 4 consecutive regular season titles, but the Salukis haven't been able to pull off the double and win the tournament. So, again, encourage folks to make some plans to head down to St. Louis to check out the Missouri Valley Conference postseason tournament.
Yeah, here's steal out of the break every year, no question about it. You know, and the thing, it's helpful too for the league a couple times there to get an automatic bid winner that wasn't the conference title winner. But last year, 3 teams from Missouri Valley, and tremendous job there.
We're at the SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois. Bradley and Southern Illinois in Missouri Valley Conference action with Chris Piper. I'm Bill Dolman. Coming up immediately following the conclusion of our game, which was a minute 18 away, it's the 2006 Rose Bowl presented by City, Texas and USC. One of the great things about ESPNU, if you're watching ESPNU at a friend's house and you want it in your place, make sure you call your cable operator. You got great college sports like college basketball from all conferences around the country, plus some of the great games that have taken place recently, like the Rose Bowl. Instant classics, if you will. 59-47. We've got a foul on Crouch, and that will send Young back to the foul line with a minute 12 left to play. Men's basketball, women's basketball, college hockey. Got a great run of volleyball in the fall along with football here on ESPNU. It's great to have you with us today for this one. Young good on the foul shot. He now has 24 points in the game. Making 25 with that free throw. Perfect from the line. Now 26 and a 14-point lead, 61-47. Somerville puts that shot up. It rolls off. And Falker the rebound, clearing it to Mullins, and he's fouled quickly by Brown. 1 minute remaining in this one. consecutive ball games. They're a minute away from leaving with a smile on their face this afternoon. 61-47. Chris Lowry, what a terrific job he's done. Spent some time as a junior college coach, a major college assistant coach with Bruce Weber at the University of Illinois. And now turning this into a major program on the national scene here at Southern Illinois. Jamaal Tatum exits and Wesley Clemens comes in. Hey, you don't want to call them mid-majors anymore. They're more like major pains.
Yeah, that's right. That's why it's so tough for them to get non-conference games.
Franklin with the three.
Now they're hitting some threes. How about that game against Wichita State? Bradley is 0 for 18 from the three-point line. First three they hit by Daniel Ruffin with no time left on the clock to make that game and go into overtime.
Didn't lead in that ball game until the overtime, but then fell a couple of points short. Mullins back on the other end, back to the stripe. It's 4 of 6 from the line in this game. Bryan Mullins has 4 points. Mentioned he did not start the season in the starting lineup. They had high regard for him, but Mike Dale was a starter in the backcourt for SIU. They made a change on November 26th, put Mullins into the lineup. Since then, they've gone 9-1. Dale ran into some academic problems, also probably a little disgruntled with his playing time, and he's no longer part of the program. There's a big three by Somerville.
Now they're hanging around, still 10. Got to get a steal, though.
Then Crouch fouls Young. Probably the wrong guy to foul.
Fouls on 14, Jeremy Crouch. That's Crouch's 4th personal foul.
Southern Illinois outscored Bradley 18-3 to open up the second half. It was 29-27. The Braves actually led by 8 in the first half. Very early on, 10-2 was the score. Couldn't maintain that pace. Once SIU got settled in, they've been in control throughout most of this ballgame, especially here in the second half. Young remains perfect at the foul line. He's getting all kinds of bounces and rolls. Franklin. Mullins got a hand on that as he went up for the shot. And Somerville fouls Young, and Tony will go back to the foul line. 28 points on the day for Tony Young.
Somerville with his 3rd personal foul. Tony Young at the line for the Salukis. Young shooting 2.
Well, the Missouri Valley has had a history of teams doing pretty well in their own buildings. Oklahoma State, Cincinnati, back in the day, each won 41 consecutive games on their home floor. Southern Illinois creeping up. That's in Missouri Valley Conference play. And Young remains perfect. A 30-point day for Tony Young. That was Oklahoma State teams, Oklahoma A&M at the time. They were coached by Mr. Ida. Cincinnati, led by a pretty good guard in his own right, and Oscar Robertson. Great players in this league. We were talking about Herschel Hawkins, all-time leading scorer for Bradley. Crouch with a quick three, coming up short. Brown follows it up and in. Well, the Braves have shown no quit in this game. And Brown sneaks in there and ties Young up. And the possession arrow belongs to Bradley.
You know, Bradley's getting some opportunities here on the defensive end, but they got the wrong guy shooting the ball. Will Franklin earlier, I mean, he throws up an air ball. Ray Brown shooting one there. I mean, get it to the guys who've made the three. You've got a little bit of time. I mean, I know you got to get a quick shot, but one pass to a better shot's a heck of a lot better than an air ball.
Crouch, a long-range three. That's no good. Young has it, and that should just about do it. Somerville tried to reach in, doesn't get the whistle, and that's going to be the ball game. Final 10 seconds will wind down. The crowd rises to its feet, and Bradley rises again further ahead of the rest of the pack in the Missouri Valley Conference. The Salukis 4-0 in conference play, 11-3 overall. They've just won their 9th consecutive ball game. Bradley falls to 8-5, 2-3 in the league. They've lost 2 consecutive. That's it from the SIU Arena in Carbondale, Illinois. The final score, Southern Illinois 67 and Bradley 55. Coming up next. next. It's the 2006 Rose Bowl featuring the #2 Texas Longhorns and the #1 USC Trojans. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. For Chris Piper, this is Bill Dolman. So long from Southern Illinois.